Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Catalyst Energies. My name is Dee. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so grateful that we are all here. This is the Daily Catalyst Astrology for July 15th, 2020, and I just went right into the chart. There's a lot of stuff to talk about today with this chart. The big aspects today are the Sun in Cancer opposing Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. We have the moon now in the last decan of Taurus, okay? And trining all of this Capricorn energy today. The moon was also sextile Neptune retrograde in Pisces and will sextile the sun in her home territory of Cancer. So sextiles are harmonious 60-degree angles that are balanced, but they require an activation. That means you need to participate in it to get something out of it. Trines, on the other hand, are completely balanced and foundational. It is very strong connections with trines, and they are between signs that are of the same element. So Earth and Earth. We have Taurus, which is fixed Earth, and we have Capricorn, which is cardinal Earth. That means there's a direction to it. There is action kind of behind it. And Capricorn is the actual nation building, institution building, economy building, culture building, the actual structures that we as a society have built to give us security. Whereas Cancer is all about where we are rooted in our belonging, in our local and national identity. It's very maternal, and there's protection here from an internal emotional standpoint, whereas the protection with Capricorn comes from the structures we have built on the outside. Today is really, wow, it is really important. And between this and the intuitive reading that I will give the transmission on Facebook Live in a little bit, this is, we aren't even seeing the fullness of what is going down right now, but some big things have happened. So let's talk about first the latter degrees of Taurus. First of all, the moon is exalted in Taurus. She is powerful in Taurus. These two energies of, well, the moon's home is Cancer, and the moon in and of herself represents the emotional internal landscape, the emotional waters within. She is the high priestess. She represents the void, the empty space in which there is to create. And much like Taurus, which is the actual medium of the physical reality, the actual earth, the soil, the wealth that we have access to. Again, it's about a space in which to grow, a space in which to create. So you can see the connection here. When we get into late Taurus, it is more about the confirmation of this physical material environment that we find ourselves in, whereas the early Taurus is substantiating that, getting to know that, getting comfortable with that, recognizing that. But now we're in late Taurus, and you're feeling very comfortable, very powerful, very confirmed in the physical material environment that we find ourselves in. So the moon is very powerful here. Now she is trine to all of this energy. So something I want to bring up, just because there's a trine doesn't necessarily mean it is a good thing. It just means it is very powerful and strong structurally, that the energy between these two aspects are so well connected that it takes a lot. It would take so much energy to disrupt that connection. So with all of this Capricorn energy, especially Jupiter and Pluto, the Lord of Death, right? And then Saturn, the home is in home sign of Capricorn. They are incredibly powerful here, and also incredibly powerful when it comes to the actual structures that our culture and our society has built up in order to give us a sense of security. Right now, the moon is feeling, it's a personalized experience. It's our emotional, internal experience of feeling very confirmed, feeling very stable within the physical environment. And this could go a number of ways, but this feels to me that there's a real strong potential that we could identify very strongly with all of this Capricorn energy at the same time that all of these planets are retrograde here and doing some serious restructuring. This could really be stubborn, okay? Taurus is notorious for being very fixed and stubborn. And when we are completely aligned in this very structurally sound way, this could be a very emotional stubbornness with connecting to these structures that are inevitably being torn down. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that number one, like I said, sextile to Neptune in Pisces. We are getting these sextiles to the water signs, especially with the sun in Cancer. Cancer is the home of the moon. She might be exalted in Taurus, but her home is Cancer. So this sextile is giving us a chance to connect the inner world with the outer ego expression of the sun in Cancer, to remind us that it is the power that the moon feels the most is in her home of Cancer, which is about personal power, which is rooted in our sense of belonging and our family and our nation and our personal power. It is the cord that connects us to the Gaia grid, okay? And so we can use this as an opportunity to activate while completely identifying with the Capricorn energy that is being restructured, renegotiated, being torn down and excavated by Pluto. And since Saturn is also retrograde, Saturn is retrograde in Capricorn, going back into his home territory, but also making it very, very real, okay? So I just wanted to point out, just because it's a trine here doesn't necessarily mean this is a good thing. There's a lot of stubbornness and a lot of very deep connection to these physical environments and these structural material environments and institutions that are being torn down. And this could be, we could be really, in our stubbornness, digging our heels in emotionally with what is being pulled down, and it's going to be very challenging. Now, yesterday, big things happened, okay, with the opposition to Jupiter. And today, the sun is opposing Pluto in Capricorn retrograde. And so not only was there an expansion in terms of the leadership in a way that is seemingly backwards, we also have Pluto seemingly backwards. And this is fear of death. Oh my gosh, Pluto retrograde is seriously fear of the reckoning, okay? And the Cancer energy, thankfully, is showing us that we can identify with our ego expression, our full expression of ourselves, with each other and the interdependence that is part of the human relationships, okay? Especially when it comes to our passion for creating something. Yesterday, the White House released a statement that was an executive order signed by President Trump that basically said, now there's a lot to this, okay? And with the sun in Cancer, this is really important. There's a lot of aspects about what I'm about to say, but there's one in particular that is definitely connected to a lot of this energy today. So what happened was that because China has basically taken Hong Kong's autonomy away and is reabsorbed Hong Kong as part of China and the CCP government, the White House and the president has issued an executive order essentially saying all of the things that we have extended to Hong Kong as an autonomous entity and as autonomous government are no longer going to apply. And there's a lot of aspects about that, and it's a very long document detailing all of the things. But the thing that stuck out to me the most, it has to do with property that is owned in the US by citizens of Hong Kong. Okay, so now that Hong Kong is no longer autonomous and is now part of the CCP government again, the United States has basically said, well, we're not extending any of these privileges to Hong Kong anymore because they are now part of China. And one of those is owning property and real estate that is a Cancer energy in the United States. So there's a lot more to it, but I'm just want to point this out in terms of a real world actual development that is very much connected to what's happening here. Now, also something that I want to point out is that the path of the solar eclipse that happened on the summer solstice, right, 0 degrees Cancer, the path of that eclipse went right through Hong Kong, it went right through Wuhan, China, and it went right through Taiwan. Now, I predicted, and there's still probably going to be something about this, that we would see some sort of issue with Taiwan and where, if they are going to stay with China, or how the US is going to be involved in this. But Hong Kong was right in the path of totality of that eclipse. And now here we are with a symbolic act that is showing us a radical shift in allegiance, right? That the US has basically said, okay, Hong Kong is not autonomous anymore, therefore we will give it no privileges as being autonomous, and we're going to take away everything that we have been giving Hong Kong because now they are part of CCP. That's a big deal, okay? And that is directly connected to this solar eclipse. So again, another actual real world example of astrology playing itself out on the world stage. So again, digging our heels in and being very stubborn emotionally about the actual material reality we find ourselves in, especially when it comes to this Capricorn energy where all these outer planets are retrograde. It's going to be really important that we understand how strong this connection is and how it's influencing us emotionally, and to not forget the sextiles to the water energy, right? Because that's the moon. The moon is actually connected to a water sign and is sextile to Neptune in Pisces, and also the sun in Cancer. Interdependence. Our power comes from our interdependence with each other, with our small units, okay? This is where the family of origin comes in. This is where our small groups, where we belong, comes in. And we really need to take advantage of this today, I believe, in order to get a sense of real safety and real stability. Because if we are expecting it to come from here, we are going to be sadly mistaken, and it'll be a very rude awakening. And when I do the transmission for the intuitive read, you will see exactly what I mean, because this is one of the most challenging readings I've done in a very long time. So the moon is in Taurus all day, and will go void off course right before midnight, and then shortly after that, about 1:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So by the end of tonight, West Pacific Standard Time, the moon's going to move into Gemini, and then that means that she's eventually going to meet with Venus and the North Node for the and then come into Cancer. And then we are going to have the new moon at 28 to 29 degrees Cancer, and that will be its own report that I will be putting out soon. Okay, so take very good care of yourselves. Please, 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 just be mindful of everything that's happening around you and where you are rooted today. Okay, lots of water, lots of time with the earth. Just take very good care of yourselves and try not to get too much in your head, because we'll have plenty of that time when the moon comes into Gemini, okay? Tomorrow and the next day. So take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow for the Daily Catalyst. And bye.